Hey, so I kind of want to get a bit of a rant off my chest, and I know that Star Wars Outlaws isn't exactly the topic of conversation in this current moment in time, but I've been busy spending 2 weeks on one particular video on the main channel, so excuse me. Regardless, I still want to have said this. Star Wars Outlaws to me is frustrating because they have the Star Wars IP, which by default will mean that you'll have something cool on your hands, and when I say that, I mean that you literally have, stormtroopers and everything, right? But the whole game, to me, just seems like it was primarily just focused on not being spotted all the time. And with the stealth mechanics being a joke, especially if you unlock the outfit that I did at some point from the Crimson Dawn, you can literally just sprint through enemies. And it's like, what is the point of having stealth if I can literally run to 2 enemies? I can have Nyx just attack one of them and then punch the other one to death while I wait for Nyx to do their thing and then punching them. I literally raised the alarm multiple times and was still able to get away with it. Forced stealth in Star Wars Outlaws just feels like crap. It isn't fun, right? Every single mission in Star Wars Outlaws is just, that's the main thing that just irritated the crap out of me the most, is the exact same, right? I can tell you that every single main mission that you're going to be doing in Star Wars Outlaws is you go to a facility, you're being told stealth is the best option, and sometimes you're being told it's the only option, and then at the end of all of that stealth thing that you do, the alarm is going to be raised anyways, and then you have to walk away and fight your way out of there. The gunplay most of the time is okay, it's fine. The blaster sounds nice, like I don't particularly mind it. Being able to pick up other weapons is nice too, but having some more variety, or at the very least being able to carry the weapons with you when you go up a ladder and just carry it on your back or whatever, would have been the bare minimum of being able to have some more variety going on in the guns that you use. The world and everything like that is pretty fine, right? But the facial animations, I mean, there's no point really ranting about that. But the main thing I really hope with Star Wars Outlaws is that hopefully this will kind of give a wake-up call, especially in the light that Star Wars Outlaws is massively underperforming, with having only sold 2 million copies instead of the projected 5.5 million that Ubisoft was expecting to get out of this, because Star Wars was the name on the box. By far the most frustrating thing about Star Wars Outlaws is that there's a lot of ideas there. There would have been fleshed out more. You would have had a great game on your hand. The world itself, and it feels like Star Wars. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan of all time, but generally speaking, the world definitely has some things going for it, right? And that's what's the most frustrating thing about the game, right? It's a world that is worth exploring and worth being in. But I don't think that anyone wants to, because of the fact that the main missions are just so repetitive, and the side quest and the reputation system frankly seems to be utterly pointless if you're just doing the main missions, right? Side content often is just like, it's nice to do. There are some unlocks, and well, because I went for the Crimson Dawn stuff, the game generally just became a joke. Now, obviously, I know I'm going to be playing a, Ubisoft game, and I'm not exactly sitting here playing Dark Souls, but if you look at something like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Star Wars Jedi Survivor, those 2 games are just so good. And Outlaws just doesn't come even close to them. And it's a massive shame because, yeah, sure, it's the quote-unquote first open world game for Star Wars, which, I mean, frankly, is a bit of a marketing gimmick, because I'd argue that, Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor are relatively open world as well. But it's just like the main character and just the characters themselves, just in general, it just feels just bland, and like there's not really a sense of direction, and it lacks that pack a punch, and I feel that there's just more that they could have done with it. And just taking a hard look at not only Star Wars Outlaws, but Ubisoft games in general, there's always these little nuggets, and the ideas are kind of always there, but it's just always like just verging on being that 6 and out. But it's just always verging on that 6 or 7 out of 10, when with the right kind of direction and some better choices here and there, it could have easily been an 8 or a 9, right? And I really hope that Ubisoft is gonna finally wake up and have a hard look at their engine and really the base concept of most, if not all, of their games. Because every single issue that is with pretty much every other Ubisoft game, once again, is glaring up. And people are finally recognizing this and are no longer really gonna give them the light of day. It is showing in sales numbers, their stock prices are plummeting, and I just really hope that the next time we're going to be playing a Star Wars open world game or a game from Ubisoft, that there is an improvement. We have Assassin's Creed Shadows coming up too. If it's going to be just as bloated as Valhalla, that'd be a shame, but I guess we're gonna find out in a couple of months whenever that comes out. Obviously, pre-release, you know, everyone's been shitting on that game too, so I guess we'll see what happens when that comes out too. Anyways, I just wanted to get that off my chest. If you, you know, agree or disagree, whatever, let me know in the comments below. I still stand with most of the things that I said in my first impressions video, aside from the story, because, and a few other things that I guess I've mentioned at this point, but man, it could have been such a cool game. And there are aspects of it that is like, yeah, this is a cool game. And honestly, I think the main thing that really ruined the game for me is how repetitive the main missions are, and every single one of them being the exact same. And that genuinely got incredibly frustrating for me. But anyways, my thoughts, wanted to share them. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.